You do?
I don't.
Okay. For the world.
We have an idea.
But David Bakhtiari knows where he's going.
Oh, well done.
The playoffs.
How about that?
Dust, yeah?
Swing and a miss.
Rodgers' former teammate joined Schefter's podcast to discuss. Take a listen.
I think for sure they make the playoffs. That's what I think. And then after that, man, I mean, all you need is a ticket to the dance, and then from there, I got no idea.
You're going to wind up on the back page of the New York tabloids for sure. They're making the playoffs here, David.
Yeah, I mean, I can't, I don't think it's very wise for any betting man to say that Aaron Rodgers is not going to make the playoffs.
Okay. Better bet. Jets make or miss the playoffs.
Look, when the time comes, maybe I'll pick them to make it. But the better bet right now is for them to miss.
Oh, this is because of the minicamp.
Well,
it is.
you guys know when he first went to the
hates
Jets.
drugs, man.
When he first went, well, I don't like drugs, but when he first went to the Jets, I was like you guys. I was like, man, he's gonna be 40. He didn't have a great year in Green Bay. I was kind of so about it. Then when I saw how all in he was, that Super Bowl trophy looks lonely. Yeah. He owned the responsibility. Like I know it's about winning the Super Bowl, and then he give up some money at one point. Shifted the contract a little. I was like, oh, he's all in. Until a week ago. Oh my God. Because that's not all in.
It's the mini.
That's not all in. And I don't want to make the mini camp like it's the biggest.
For those of you who don't know, Brew is wildly religious. Super, 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 super Christian. I guarantee you, if what Aaron Rodgers did, if he went on a Christian retreat and was praying and doing all this stuff with God and Jesus and all that, he would have Brew's completely, support behind that. But the fact that it's essentially a different religion, a different spiritual path that Aaron Rodgers is doing, and that's what he was doing, that's where he's been, which I've already unpacked in a previous video, so I'm not going to, all unpack it again. It's seen as just him being on vacation, taking substances, and just partying, when it is the literal opposite. Aaron Rodgers is doing the equivalent of what a Christian might do on retreat, praying, reading the Bible, speaking to other, religious leaders within Christianity, praying, getting in touch with God, Jesus, whatever it may be. So it's just such a backwards way of looking at things.
This thing, because he'll I don't think how he plays is going to be based on that. If he plays poorly, it's not because he missed. If he plays great, it's not, it has nothing to do with that. But it's just bad leadership. I think it sets a bad tone with the team, and it shows me that he's not all in like I thought. He might think he is.
Neither is Brew.
No, that's how I go. Yeah. Now, these are my 4 teams that are definitely making the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Right now.
Early predictions.
Chiefs, Ravens, Texans, Bills. They're definitely in.
Okay.
Now, the Jets are in this next batch, which is definitely in the hunt. All right? And this is I know it's a big list, but
so that means there's only 5 teams out.
Yeah. But do you, any of those, what teams do you disagree with on there that'll be in the hunt?
Steelers.
Really?
Jets.
Steelers always are in the hunt.
Yeah, okay. But that's fine.
And they got
that's
better
a different
quarterback
segment.
play.
Sorry,
Okay.
Go ahead. Okay. So,
no, that's
so
I think it's a better bet that they don't.
I think this is like a classic overreact to June storyline type of situation. It's a mini camp. It's not a good look. It's not good leadership. It doesn't show that he's all in. But he played 4 snaps last year, and they won 7 games. Like, whatever we think. Hold on, though.
That's
whatever we.
argument.
I'm with you.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
You hate that argument, yet he uses that same argument for why the Chicago Bears are going to go to the literal Super Bowl because of how many games they won with Justin Fields, and now that they have Caleb Williams, it's going to skyrocket them. So why does that same logic and argument not apply to Aaron Rodgers, who is an established all-time great at the quarterback position? Please tell me. Doesn't make any sense.
I'll let you finish.
Whatever we think of ayahuasca and darkness retreats and the weirdness of Aaron Rodgers.
But we think it's illegal. That's what we think.
Well, he's better than Trevor Siemian and Tim Boyle and Zach Wilson, right?
Yes.
We all agree. Okay.
You think it's illegal, yet in some countries it's illegal to practice Christianity. Does that mean that practicing Christianity is wrong? In some places, it's illegal to wear a cross. Does that mean wearing a cross is wrong? In some places, it's illegal to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Does that mean that it's wrong? I already know those answers. I already know the answers what Brew would say.
So they're going to get better quarterback play this year. They upgraded their offensive line, and it is a very good team. They have stars at premium positions.
But no, hold on a second.
Are they definitely in the playoffs, though? They got
No,
a tough
he said
division.
better bet.
The smarter bet, first of all, they're minus 170 to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
So the odds makers say it's more likely than not they go to the
because it's a good division.
Okay,
It's
so
a
hold
pretty
on.
decent
First
division.
of all, I want to debunk two things that I've been trying to debunk with the Jets for 2 years, and I just keep being right, and I keep having to hear them. One is they have all these stars. They have Garrett Wilson on offense.
Sauce Gardner.
He says, hold on, when he's interrupted Brew and he interrupted Danny.
No, I'm talking on offense. So obviously, they have an excellent defense on offense. Mike Williams.
Brees Hall is very good.
Brees Hall.
He's
Hold
healthy,
on
he's
a
good,
second
man.
about
He's
Brees
healthy,
Hall.
he's good.
I had the
Very
same
good.
argument last year. And Brees Hall, going into week 18 last year, had 800 yards rushing. Then they tried to game the system to get him 1,000, and they couldn't do the math right. Yeah. So he finishes the year. Brees Hall last year, for the record,
He might be helped with a better quarterback.
Had slightly more yards than Rashad White and slightly less than Tony Pollard, who Brew is out on. So I am not saying Brees Hall is not good. He is not a star. Mike Williams has.
What do you want them to do when they have a bad offensive line and a bad quarterback that can't do anything? Where do you think that the run game is magically going to be great now? I mean, that argument holds no water. Zero. None.
Has not been a star in 4 years. So I don't want to hear they have all these stars. Well, he didn't magically get an elixir. I don't know,
Tyron
man.
Smith, star.
Again, his problem is the health. But now let me go to the bigger problem I have, Danny, because I heard the same thing last year, which is wild. Yeah. They won 7 games with terrible quarterback play. That cuts in both directions. In 2022, they beat 2 starters at quarterback, and they beat Jacoby Brissett, Mitch Trubisky, Skylar Thompson, Brett Rippon, Mike White, and then a good quarterback in Josh Allen and a random good quarterback named Aaron Rodgers. In 2023, they beat 2 good quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, and then they beat Russ, DeVito, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett.
It's really funny. Now he's saying Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback when the last segment he said that Jalen Hurts is just an average quarterback and that the Eagles were a terrible team last season. So which is it?
And Bailey Zappi. So this
But they didn't have a quarterback.
And CJ played
They had a
most of that
worse
game.
quarterback.
That was the
Didn't even know
that was the
his team.
Davis Mills game. So the CJ got knocked out.
They
Davis
knocked
Mills
him
games
out,
in.
though.
I understand that. The idea that we're all of a sudden just going to be like, for the second straight year, this team their quarterback play was so bad and they won 7 games. They got all their wins in games where the quarterback play was equivalent. Yeah. Where they weren't at a quarterback deficit. So why all of a sudden are they going to take the jump?
3 of the games they were, first of all.
Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle, you were at a quarterback deficit against plenty of the guys on that.
Tommy DeVito, Davis Mills, Bailey Zappi. Have you seen Bailey Zappi play?
We were trying to lose that game.
I mean,
The record.
But the Bills, the Texans, and the Eagles,
They had 3 good wins. They had 3 wins. They were like, you know what?
And the previous year they had 2.
play in the league.
Okay. So
I mean, seriously.
So you. And to go to the first point, you think they have stars all over the team? Because
I think defense does matter.
Well, yeah, I agree the defense matters.
And they've got stars on defense.
I think they have a very good defense, but I think right now the list of top 5 defenses is 12 teams long, as it is every year. Every year they're going to have a top 5 defense.
But it doesn't have to be top 5.
It certainly does. If they have the 9th best defense in football, they're drawing dead.
Last year, what was it?
Well,
was it top 10?
You always change.
There's different numbers to look at.
It's not as good as you think, and then it's like, well, a lot of that is Zach Wilson, bad field position.
Well, that's true. That is true.
It is true. Longer drive, defense rests more.
Football.
I know.
But okay, all right.
It is funny to me how they always just want to pick and choose when they apply the statistics. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me, because now Nick wants to live and die by the stats, and yet he makes excuses for why Patrick Mahomes' numbers were down, or makes excuses. He talks about playing losing teams or teams that have not a good quarterback, and that's why they won those games, and yet he ignores that that's how the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott got to 12 wins last season. He wants to ignore that completely and wants to talk it up. He wants to talk about how the Eagles are trash and not a good team, and he considered them to be the worst team at the NFL at the end of last season, and that Jalen Hurts is like literally just an average quarterback. And now in this segment, he wants to act like the Eagles are a great team and that Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. So again, it's just the inconsistency makes no sense to me. If you want to make an argument that the Jets are not going to be a good team and that Aaron Rodgers has passed his prime and can't lead this team, that's fine. Make that argument, but do it off of a consistency of your own logic. It just doesn't make sense. And they kind of were making fun of Brew for saying that some of the defensive issues, what you could put on Zach Wilson with field position and stuff like that, and they scoff at that, but it's totally accurate. It's totally a real thing. You're giving extra possessions that the defense has to be out there. The defense is gassed. They also are only trying so hard when they know that they essentially have no chance at winning with Zach Wilson as the quarterback. I mean, it's just absurd. And again, he wants to use the whole thing with the Chicago Bears and why they're going to be good because their quarterback was bad, and now they have a good quarterback that they can just add 3 more wins to them and that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. If you want to apply that logic, then you have to apply similar logic about the Jets. He thinks that the Jets are just going to be trash. If you want to make the argument that the Jets won't make the playoffs because of the other teams and the Jets are going to be good but just not good enough and that they're going to get edged out, I'm open to that argument. I disagree with it, but I'm open to that argument. But that's not the argument that's being made. The argument is essentially that Aaron Rodgers is trash, the Jets are trash, and that they're just not going to be good and they have no chance of making the playoffs. Like you said, if they have a top 10 defense and just number 9 defense, they're just drawing dead. It's just an insane statement to make to me. And it's just like the confidence that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are just garbage makes no sense. And comparing to previous years makes no sense. Because they didn't have Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers is worth nothing. When in reality, he's considered to be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. It's just insane to me. It really, really is. He's just being, and again, I'm not even a big Aaron Rodgers fan. Not at all. But I hate when people are being misrepresented or doubted based off of non-football reasons. And the fact that he's being misaligned now because he's trying to improve the quality of his life and his well-being by doing more spiritual stuff, and that's seen as a negative, is insane to me. And considering that Chris Broussard is as religious as he is, I think it's also kind of low. And I'm a huge Chris Broussard fan. But there is the guy who's definitely kind of gotten a little crazy over the years. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to say his name, but he's kind of gone off the deep end. But he's a media guy, and he was on FS1, and he was very religious. He is very religious, very, very, very Christian. And when Aaron Rodgers started doing this stuff, this was years ago at this point, and everyone was kind of making fun of him, he actually stood up to him. He actually stood up for him and said, hey, he is trying to find a greater purpose in his life. He is trying to discover something bigger than himself. He is trying to improve the quality of his life. He's trying to become more spiritual. And even though it's not what I would do, this is now the guy talking, not that I would do, he goes, I respect it. And he goes, and I wish him well on his journey, and I really hope he finds what he's looking for. That was a shockingly mature, awesome response coming from a truly devout Christian. So it's just shocking. It's not shocking to me, but it's a little disappointing to not see people give that support to Aaron Rodgers in that regard, because I'm very confident if it was any of the other main religions that he was, engaging with, that he would have that support. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think the better bet is, to make or miss the postseason for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.